So there we have it, folks. It has now been an entire year of learning the cello, which is a big milestone, and I have waited the whole year to arrive at this point, to be able to say I have a whole entire year of experience under my belt now, and that's really exciting. There's days where I feel like a whole year actually didn't do a whole lot. Like, why didn't I progress more than that? In the grand scheme of things, I know, learning these instruments, a year is just a tiny fingernail sliver in a very, very vast, great journey. So I still have a long, long way to go, but I have come a long way as well. One of the biggest breakthroughs that happened this year actually only happened this past month, which is kind of crazy. It took 11 months to have this really big breakthrough, and that is my intonation. So I started working on my major scales in 3 octaves, and incorporating that 3rd octave really threw a wrench into the machine. It was such a struggle, and it was very frustrating because up until that point I knew all of my major scales in 2 octaves, and I was really excited to have learned them all. And then throwing in the 3rd octave, suddenly all that I had learned just kind of went out the window, and it was really frustrating. So I spent a lot of time working on getting that 3rd octave straightened out, and nothing was changing. I was still every time I would move up the neck, my fingers just wouldn't go in the right space, and it was really frustrating because I was like, I'm practicing this for an hour every day. Why aren't my fingers remembering where to go? And finally, my teacher in a lesson was like, well, one of the things that will really help you is if you have consistent hand shape. So whatever hand shape you have in first position, you want to replicate that as you go up the neck. And I was like, oh, that makes a lot of sense. So I started working on that, and it actually made a huge difference, but it still wasn't enough. And I was really frustrated. I was like, why isn't this enough? So flash forward a couple weeks after that, I was working on something, and I don't remember what it was, but I kept making a squeaking sound. And I was like, why? I've been playing for almost a year now, and I'm still squeaking through this instrument. What the heck? So I took a moment to pay attention to what I was doing, and I realized the reason why I was making that squeaking sound is because these 2 fingers, whichever one I was using at the time, were collapsed or kind of falling over. They weren't high up on the neck, and it was hitting the next string over. So when I was doing a string transition, there would be that squeaking sound, and it was driving me nuts. But discovering why that was happening was actually really helpful, and I'm like, okay, I need to correct that. So what's wrong with my hand shape that keeps happening? Oh, I need to lift them up a little bit and curve them more. And so I started practicing that. And it made a big difference. The squeak was gone for the most part. There's other reasons for the squeaky instrument, but that made a huge difference. And so I thought, okay, well, if I'm changing my hand position now in first place, then let's see what happens when I go up in those higher octaves. And there was a huge difference. So correcting, not only like maintaining a consistent hand shape throughout the fingerboard, but correcting how my hand was shaped in first position then opened up a whole new world. And I'm finally starting to get a better grasp on incorporating the third octave into my scales. It's certainly not perfect, but I'm really excited to finally feel like I'm actually making progress with that, whereas before I was just practicing over and over and nothing was really changing, and now it's starting to change. So that was the G major scale in 3 octaves, and I still need to work on it, but I'm so excited to finally feel like it's moving somewhere and it's moving in the right direction, and I'm not just repeating the same mistakes over and over and over. So correcting my hand shape in first position and then keeping that hand shape consistent, huge difference. And it's not like I didn't hear about doing that prior. I have been watching YouTube videos this whole year, and my teacher has been telling me these things, and it just didn't click until like 2 weeks ago. No, actually like a couple days ago, really. The next big thing for the new year is the infamous Popper etudes, and I'm so excited because this was another like milestone for me secretly when I first started learning the cello, and I heard about Popper and how challenging his etudes were. I was like, I hope that one day I will be able to play a Popper etude. The teacher gave me a list of new books to get for the new year, and Popper was one of them, and so I was like, oh, this is so exciting. So I started working on the first etude, just like the first 4 lines, because this is already really challenging. And it's funny because it starts out, I think, kind of easy and gets even more difficult as the piece progresses. But already it's a huge challenge for me. So that's just what it looks like. So I've only had this for a couple of days now, but I actually really enjoy etudes. I enjoy the challenge of them, and so it's been kind of fun working on this. So that's kind of where I'm at. It's really good for, well, everything, of course. It's good for my bowing and trying to keep a relaxed bow hand, which is easier in the beginning, and then as the notes get more challenging for me, I kind of like tense up a little, and I think the fluidity or my flexibility or relaxation in the bow hand gets a little bit lost. But it's also really good for just working on recognizing those higher positions being able to land like fourth position. More consistently. It's exciting to like start to recognize those notes like, oh, that's an E, and I know how that's supposed to sound, so I'll be able to put my finger down, hopefully in the right spot. As this piece progresses, it gets into the tenor clef and thumb position, so it's gonna be a challenge. And it's also supposed to go a lot faster. I don't know how fast it's supposed to go, and that probably... That'll be good for my sight reading, I think. Read ahead, read ahead. Scary. So anyways, thank you guys for watching and sticking with me for a whole year now. And may 2018 be a fantastic growing year for all of us. Happy practicing and Happy New Year.